As a kid, I remember having friends who would wear Spider-Man themed pajamas and would jump off the bed to replicate the fascinating abilities of flying and swinging through the air. There were superhero themed days at school when all of the students had the opportunity to wear the costumes of their favorite superheroes, making them feel powerful and invincible. While all of the other kids looked at Batman's mystery or Captain America's bravery, I stared with bright eyes, filled with wonder, at my very own superhero, my older brother. Growing up, I was mesmerized by my older brother. He was the most talented athlete I had ever seen, and as an aspiring football player myself, it was a blessing to be able to watch him lay out the blueprint. He was Mr. Football for the state of Tennessee, given to the best player in each division. He then went on to become a record-breaking all-conference linebacker in the Big Ten. His success at the college level led him to sign an NFL contract with the Arizona Cardinals. I watched in awe as my brother lived out his dream at the highest level. Through him, I saw the product of hard work and dedication. He made me feel like I could accomplish anything I wanted to as long as I put my mind to it. He was truly my hero. But with every superhero comes a villain. And for my older brother, I came to know that villain to be adversity. After bouncing around teams for a few years, my brother found himself playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Through 3 preseason games, he was leading the team in tackles, and every news article and media outlet was saying that he was guaranteed to make the 53-man roster for the first time since he had been in the NFL. However, following the last preseason game with the Cowboys, my brother received a phone call informing him that he would no longer be a member of the organization. Though he had been released 2 times before, this time cut deep. After excelling for the majority of his life and experiencing loads of success and accomplishments, my brother finally hit a breaking point. The man that I viewed as a superhero and thought was invincible began to slowly and noticeably crumble. He viewed himself as a failure and a disappointment. He felt like he had let the whole family down because he wasn't able to have this successful professional career that he once envisioned. It affected him so much so that one day he walked over 15 miles from our house to the bus station, hopped on a Greyhound, and rode all the way from Memphis, Tennessee to San Francisco, California, where he would eventually live homeless by choice. Isolation became his norm. I just couldn't understand. Why couldn't he just push through this just like he did all the other times? I struggled to grasp how somebody who was once so strong all of a sudden had no more strength left to give. Why couldn't he just be resilient? But maybe he was practicing resilience. Maybe it was me who had it all wrong. I thought he was giving up, but in truth, he was beginning the process of something far more profound. Today, I want to talk to you about this word resilience, not as a reflex or an instant reaction, but as a process that takes time. A process that requires us to acknowledge our emotions, maintain a healthy perspective of adversity, and perhaps, most importantly, be patient enough to let it unfold. We live in a world today where resilience is often seen as an automatic response. We hear phrases like bounce back or just keep going, as if resilience is something that we should just do. But let's be real. Life hits hard sometimes. Whether it's failing a big exam, getting fired from your job, or feeling like you don't know where you're headed, the struggle is real. And in these moments, society will tell you to just suck it up and keep moving forward. But the reality is, you can't overcome what you refuse to face. After my brother was cut from the NFL, he didn't have it all together. So he withdrew from everybody, which seemed like he was breaking down, but he was actually breaking through. This gave him the opportunity to face his pain head on. He felt every bit of anger and disappointment because he knew that you can't heal what you don't allow yourself to feel. Studies show that acknowledging our emotions, even the tough ones, reduces their intensity and shortens the duration of their pain. So don't just push those feelings down. experience them. That's the first step to resilience, embracing your emotions rather than avoiding them. But feeling your emotions is just the beginning. After you face that pain, it's time to shift your mindset and change how you see the challenges in front of you. Adversity is inevitable. You're going to face setbacks. We all do. Adversity doesn't discriminate. But what if we stopped seeing adversity as something that's happening to us and started to see it as something that's happening for us? That's what my brother did. He began to view his situation not as a dead end, but as a detour. He asked himself, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? He flipped the script on adversity, changing what could have been a permanent defeat into a temporary challenge. When you view adversity with the perspective of gaining growth from it, you emerge stronger because you develop your capacity to overcome challenges. So the next time life throws you a curveball, don't ask, why me? Instead ask, what is this here to teach me? Reframing your perspective on adversity sets the stage, but resilience isn't built overnight. It takes something else: time. We live in a world where everything is instant, from text messages to TikTok videos. We want everything to happen fast. Unfortunately, resilience isn't a 2-day shipping deal. You can't get it off of Amazon Prime. It's more like a long road trip with the unexpected stops and a lot of detours. My brother didn't rush his healing. He didn't set a timer for when he felt he should be over it. He understood that growth takes time, and he gave himself the grace and the space to take that time. Slowly, he began to rebuild himself, not as the man he was before, but as someone evolved and more grounded. Resilience is often built gradually. It's like muscle. The more you engage it, the stronger it gets, but it takes time and consistency. In my brother's journey, resilience began with allowing himself to feel his emotions, even the most painful ones, instead of burying them. He then learned to reframe his perspective on adversity, seeing it as a chance to grow in ways he never imagined. And he understood that resilience required patience, knowing that healing and growth doesn't happen overnight. But even with these steps, my brother didn't undergo this alone. After years of solitude, he finally reached out to my mom and came back home. That was a turning point. With the love and the support of my family, we were able to get him the resources he needed to keep moving forward, to keep searching for his purpose. Yet there's something about life. You don't always understand the lessons that someone is teaching you until you live them for yourself. I saw my brother's struggles and I saw his growth, but I didn't grasp the depth of what he was showing me until I faced my own adversity. I was blessed to walk in my brother's footsteps when I signed an NFL contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I felt like I had finally made it in life. Everything I ever wanted was right there in my hands. The attention, the lights, the money, it was all there. The time finally came for our first preseason game against the Cincinnati Bengals. My parents flew into town and I had some close family friends there as well. I was filled with excitement. This was my first opportunity to prove myself on the professional stage. I fought with everything I had, and I finished the game with 6 tackles, the second most on the team. After the game, my parents and my friends were beaming with pride, talking about this future that they saw for me in the NFL and how they see me having this successful career down the road. That next morning, I took my parents to the airport, kissed them goodbye, told them I'd see them next week for the next game, and then I headed back to the team hotel. As I was driving to the team hotel, I got a phone call from the Buccaneers front office. This was Sunday, which was our off day, so I thought that this was kind of weird. Hello? Hey, what's going on, Cameron? What are you up to? Nothing much, just dropped my parents off at the airport. Now I'm headed back to the team hotel. Well, there won't be a need for you to do that. We've decided to release you today. You'll no longer be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. My world shattered in an instant. There I was, driving down the highway in Tampa with tears streaming down my face. I felt the wave of emotions crash over me. Embarrassment, disappointment, failure. I felt like I had let everyone down who had believed in me, who had supported me every step of the way. But deeper than that, I finally felt what my brother had felt just years before. Everyone around me kept telling me to be strong, to keep my head up. But I had no more strength left to give. I felt so alone, like no one could understand the gravity of my situation. But there was one person who did, my superhero. In that moment of despair, I thought of my brother. I remember his journey, his struggles. And over time, I began to realize that it was okay to feel what I was feeling. It was okay to explore my emotions, to let the pain wash over me, and to not pretend everything was okay and rush back into the world. My brother showed me that sometimes being strong means being vulnerable. I needed to embrace where I was rather than where I thought I should be. And so what have I learned from all of this? That resilience is not about never falling apart. It's not about pretending that pain doesn't cut deep or that we're immune to life's hardest blows. True resilience is about giving ourselves the grace to feel every emotion, to break down if we need to, and then to rise slowly and deliberately in our own time. I discovered that resilience isn't about bouncing back. It's about building back, piece by piece, even when you feel like you have nothing left to give. And I realized something else, the power of our stories. My brother's story saved my life. It showed me a path when I couldn't see one for myself. And I believe that our stories could do the same for others. So if you're facing your own battles, if you're feeling lost or defeated, remember that your journey matters and you don't have to walk it alone. We can never control what happens to us, but we can always choose how we respond. And that response doesn't have to be instant or perfect. It just has to be yours. So embrace the struggle. Trust the process. Give yourself permission to grow through it, not just go through it. And so I ask you, the next time life knocks you down, will you simply react or will you choose to rise, however long it takes? Because resilience isn't found in the moment of the fall. It's found in every step you take afterwards, no matter how small. Thank you.